This is the third in a series of videos created by the Great Lakes Comprehensive Center about EWIMS, the Early Warning Information and Monitoring System. The videos are designed as a companion to the Michigan EWIMS Implementation Guide, which was developed by the National High School Center. There is a video for each of the 7 steps in the EWIMS process. Each video describes what you need to know about one of the steps and how to implement it. This video focuses on Step 2, using the Early Warning Data Tool. EWIMS is a 7-step, data-driven decision-making process that helps educators identify, match, and monitor students who show signs of risk for dropping out of high school. In Step 2, EWIMS teams retrieve and review data reports from their Early Warning Data Tool of choice. The EWIMS process does not depend on the use of a specific tool. The process may be used with any data tool that displays attendance, behavior, and course performance data. The Michigan Department of Education recommends that Michigan districts use the Michigan Data Hub Early Warning Data Tool, which has a user-friendly early warning indicator section that will be discussed in this video. Early warning data tools have cut points or thresholds that trigger a red flag. For each early warning indicator, absence, behavior, or course performance, a threshold is identified. The national thresholds you see here are based on research conducted in Philadelphia by Johns Hopkins University in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In high school, the national thresholds are being absent for 10% or more of instructional time, failing to perform in 1 or more courses, and earning a 2.0 or lower GPA on a 4-point scale. Behavior thresholds are validated locally because schools and districts have differing disciplinary policies. In the middle grades, the thresholds are missing 20% or more of instructional time and failing an English language arts or math course. Behavior thresholds for the middle grades are also validated locally. A similar chart can be found in the EWIMS Implementation Guide. The Michigan Data Hub Early Warning Data Tool also uses information about student attendance, behavior, and course performance to identify or flag students who are at risk for not being at grade level, not being promoted to the next grade, or not graduating from high school. Let's review the thresholds for each of the early warning indicators in the Michigan Early Warning Data Tool. An attendance rate of less than 90%, that is, missing 10% or more of instructional time. 1 or more state reportable offenses. 6 or more school code of conduct violations. A failing English language arts grade. A failing math grade. There are a few differences that should be noted between the Michigan thresholds and the national thresholds. First, in the Michigan Data Tool, the attendance and course performance indicators have the same thresholds for middle grades as for high school, but the national attendance and course performance thresholds are different for middle grade students and for high schoolers. Since the national threshold for attendance is missing 20% or more of instructional time, but the Michigan Data Tool flags students when they miss 10% of instructional time, this means that the Michigan Data Tool may over-identify middle grade students for attendance. The national and Michigan thresholds also differ when it comes to course performance. In the Michigan Data Tool, high school students are only flagged for course performance if they have either a failing English language arts or math grade. But the national high school threshold for course performance flags students who are failing any core course, English language arts, math, science, or history. This means that the Michigan Data Tool may under-identify students for course performance because it doesn't take into account students' science and history grades. Because both over- and under-identification can occur, EWIMS teams using the Michigan Data Tool should become accustomed to questioning data and examining it carefully before assigning interventions. For this reason, EWIMS teams don't automatically assign interventions based on the presence of a flag. Instead, the teams rely on members to interpret the data before taking action. Early warning indicators, attendance, behavior, and course performance, are not the same as student classifications such as special education codes, demographic categories, and free reduced price lunch status. Although a classification may impact a student's trajectory, it is not, in and of itself, an early warning indicator. For example, race, or free reduced price lunch status, should not automatically be assumed to indicate risk. In some cases, demographic factors can provide helpful clues, but taken alone, they are not predictive of student success or graduation. There are many examples of successful adults who came from every classification category. Each school's EWIMS team needs to have the following: one or more team members trained to use the tool. These individuals should understand the features of the tool and be able to import and/or export data as needed. Access to the tool and the reports generated by the tool. A calendar of regularly scheduled EWIMS team meetings for data review. Some districts also need a timeline for regularly importing data. For districts that use the Michigan Data Hub, the hub syncs with the district's student information system to automatically transfer data on a daily basis, so importing data is not necessary. Districts that choose not to use the Michigan Data Hub and districts whose student information system doesn't provide the data that their EWIMS team requires will need to import, and sometimes input, data to their data tool. These districts may need to train a team member to import or enter data. All districts need to export data, which is when a team member pulls the most recent data about attendance, behavior, and course performance to share before or during a team meeting. Finally, every EWIMS team needs a plan for adhering to confidentiality requirements when developing reports and sharing information. This includes how information is shared with internal and external stakeholder groups. The Michigan Data Hub Early Warning Data Tool is part of the larger Data Hub. The Data Hub merges data from multiple systems into a common format. The Hub pulls data from sources such as student information systems and data systems for special education, assessment, alert, learning management, library services, food services, and transportation. The Data Hub works by integrating data from your district's student information system and other sources, and then organizing it in a way that is easy to understand. The Data Hub's Early Warning Data Tool provides data at the student, school, and district levels for each early warning indicator. Here you see a student summary page that contains red and green flags, signifying whether the student has reached a warning threshold, a red flag, or is above the warning threshold, a green flag. A caution flag would appear if the student were approaching a red flag. The dashboard in the Michigan Data Hub provides attendance, behavior, and course performance data from students' prior school years, as well as credits toward graduation, and whether the student is on track to graduate based on grade level. The Michigan Data Tool enables users to integrate data from multiple sources and identify students on the basis of early warning signs. Schools can monitor the indicators at any time, but ideally, indicators should be reviewed at key points, such as after the first 20 or 30 days of school, the end of each marking period, the end of each semester, and the end of the school year. This table summarizes the early warning indicators in the Michigan Early Warning Data Tool, when the data are collected and analyzed, and the thresholds for flagging students as being at risk. The tool flags failures, students who are at or below a risk indicator threshold for one or more indicators, as well as cautions, students who are sliding off track and coming close to a threshold. EWIMS teams can use the information in the Timing of Available Outputs column here to develop a data entry schedule that provides the team with access to data in a timely manner. To sign up to use the Michigan Data Tool, school districts can visit the district application page on the Michigan Data Hub website. On an ongoing basis, the district needs to ensure that its data are updated in the tool. EWIMS team members need to have access to the data tool and be able to understand the main components of the tool, including the types of reports that are available. For example, lists of flagged students and summary reports, as well as how to read each report type. As mentioned in the Step 1 video, EWIMS teams should designate at least one member who is responsible for preparing data to be discussed at team meetings. Members who prepare data for the team can access technical support through the Data Hub's centralized support staff. Many districts also have their own Data Hub support specialist. For a list of support specialists in Michigan, email the Data Hub or visit the Data Hub website. To facilitate data-driven decision-making, the Data Hub allows the creation of watch lists for monitoring students. The watch list function is available through the teacher view. In the example here, Sue-Ann Bazan is the teacher. By clicking on the student drop-down list, Sue-Ann can see both the Dynamic Lists option as well as her own Custom Early Warning System list. By clicking on Customize View, users can view shared lists from other people. The use of shared lists will be discussed in subsequent videos. Regardless of which early warning data tool your team uses, the team will need to discuss these issues. How often will early warning data be updated? Who will obtain and distribute reports for EWIMS team meetings? To use the data tool, what type of supports does our team need and from whom? With whom will our team share data? How will student confidentiality be protected? Because many individuals will have access to the data, this issue is important, and your decisions about protecting confidentiality must be clearly communicated. If your district chooses not to use the Michigan Data Tool, you can still use the EWIMS 7-step process and generate early warning data from your student information system. In this situation, it is important to confirm who will be responsible for inputting and/or entering data into your system. And be sure to designate an EWIMS team member to pull the data on attendance, behavior, and course performance to share before or during team meetings. If your district doesn't use the Michigan Data Tool, the district's student information system may enable you to identify students at risk for dropping out of high school based on attendance, behavior, and course performance data, or the district may be able to add this function to the system. In the next video, which focuses on Step 3, we explore the process of reviewing early warning data, including how to determine what the data shows and how to identify patterns in the data.